For the third time this week, White Mantle agents conducted extensive searches of farms around the Bergen Hot Springs as a part of an ongoing campaign to root out so-called heretics and Shining Blade sympathisers. Inquisitor Lovisa of the White Mantle, who is overseeing the searches, directed her men to tear apart the outbuildings of an area farm, despite the pleas of the farmer. "We're searching for prohibited materials and evidence of collusion with rebels," she explained, "and will tear this farm apart to find it." The Mantle allowed the farmer to remove his livestock before they set their torches to the barn, though I imagine this was of small comfort to the poor man. In the end, Inquisitor Lovisa did not find the contraband she was searching for, but her resolve to snuff out the tiniest ember of rebellion was as strong as ever. "This sends a strong message to any heathens or rebels in the area," the Inquisitor said in regards to the burning of the barn before. "The White Mantle is tolerant and kind, but we have no mercy for those who would disagree with us." There we go. Okay, so they say, Den and Cran, we just need you to stand over in the witness area next to those others. This won't be long. Never lost, never will. Den and Cran. Okay, why do you keep saying your own names? Why not? They're great names, Den and Cran. Why don't you say yours more? Peter Redhill. Ah, Peter Redhill. Okay, fine. Does that say prosecution or persecution? There's no real difference, is there? It's not the Asuran way to pretend something is what it isn't, unless there's some advantage to be gained, of course. In this case, everyone knows the situation, so why not call a spanner, if you know what I mean. Okay, brilliant. So you are being persecuted, Zin. Just hope you're aware of that. But he's been a big head about it anyway, so I don't think we should feel bad. Now, I think when we go over to this witness area, it's going to start triggering dialogue, which means I might not be able to speak to these people before the trial. I know they do have dialogue before the trial. Let's try it anyway. So we've got the Jade Brotherhood, of course. These are basically all the people that were involved with the quest we were doing before. So here's Leanne. She says, gold and platinum to gild Ula's arguments to all join against Zin. So this is a haiku. I think everything she's ever said, you might remember in Factions I mentioned this. They're all haikus, she says, I believe. Anyway, the main trial started, so we can't speak to them, I'm sorry. But we'll catch up with them later on. So it says, this session of the Arcane Council is called to order. We are here to adjudicate very serious charges against the golem monster Zin, also known as Zin the Amazing, Zin the Sensational Zin, Super Genius Zin, Intruder Zin or Invader Zin, and Mr. Zincompetent. Wow. What? Who calls me that? Everyone does now, genius, but I was the one who started it, if that's what you're wondering. Ula, enough. The charges against Zin are as follows. 1. Mathematical turpitude. 2. Gross fluxometry in the first degree. 3. Reckless instigation of mayhem without a permit. They have permits for that. 4. An overdue library tome. What says the accused? Not guilty on all accounts, except perhaps the tome. In my defence, by burning copies of Ula's Guide to Golomancy, I was doing a favour to young, impressionable Asura everywhere. Ouch. Oh, snap. Jesus, I'm really tempted to, between these dialogue boxes, speak to everyone else, but I doubt it will work. Scoundrel, she says. Hack, he replies. Earbiter. And then we actually get a cutscene here. Okay, so this is our first Guild Wars Beyond cutscene. And the cutscene just says 10 minutes later. I like the way it kind of fades in as well. It's a little bit long, these cutscenes, but they're kind of cool. Dimwits, so they've just been shouting at each other for 10 minutes. Nincompoop! Oh, this is the Asura way. I love how just bored Prince Bokka looks over there. Yeah, that is Prince Bokka. Like I say, it's all the important characters. 20 minutes later. Are you guys quite done? Ignoramus! I like how now it's all in caps, as if now they're shouting at each other properly. Enough of this squabbling. Both of you pipe down now, or I'll have the militia tweak your ears. Persecution, your first witness. Oh, I love how it's the persecution, not prosecution. Brilliant. Den and Cran for the persecution. Let the record reflect that there are 32 witnesses here ready to testify. With that, the persecution rests. Wow. Solid stuff you've got going here, Asura. Objection! They can't not call the witnesses. No need. Everyone knows you're guilty. Den and Cran. Oh, God. What characters. I wish they were more in Eye of the North. Objection! Screams Zin in retaliation. Overruled. In all fairness, Zin, you are guilty, and I've got research of my own to get back to. Any witnesses for the defence before we convict you? Any at all? Awkward silence. Just myself, says Zin. That's all that I need. If you weren't such a big head, you might get away with this. Egomaniac. This is why he thinks it's okay to cause mass chaos and destruction without filing the proper paperwork in advance. Tell us, Zin, why do you think you're so much better than the rest of us? Den and Cren. You know, they've got a good point, though. I didn't say that, says Zin. But you think it. Oh, come on, it is pretty obvious he thinks it. Ula's a renowned golomancer, but you say her work is rubbish. Or maybe you're just jealous of her. Now, why don't you answer the question? I love how Mox is just standing over there, and Gox is just standing over there, just looking on obliviously. You want answers? We think we're entitled. Den and Kren. I could just keep filling these spaces with that now. You want answers? We want the truth. I'm sure this is a reference. What is this a reference to? By the way, this ring, this magical ring you might have noticed here, yeah, it actually stops you walking in there. It's pretty cool. You imbeciles are defiant in the cognitive faculties requisite to fully comprehend the truth. Or you're intentionally trying to infuriate me with your idiocy so that I'll lose my cool and lose the trial. But it won't work because I am innocent. I burned Ula's tome, but you should thank me for that. I didn't have a permit for the homicidal golems, but most of the mayhem was in human territory, so no permit was required. My mathematics are immaculate, and the only flummoxery going on here is this trial. That word is so hard to say, I swear to God. Flummoxery. Egomaniac, ego and maniac. They're right there in the word. The persecution rests. Den and Kren. Oh my God. Objection! You already rested your case, you nimrods. That's enough. Let's hear your closing remarks. That's right, man. Pull this back into line. Den and Kren. International incident. You all know it. His golems, his responsibility. Simple as that. I'm probably going to find out I've been saying Kren wrong there. It's like Crane, really. Den and Crane. It's in his name. Guilty as Zin. Vote guilty, councillors. Den and Kren. Den and Crane. Whatever. This entire trial is a farce. Ula feels threatened by my superior golomancy and has called in favours to see me exiled. To be fair, I wouldn't put it past Ula to do that. Zin, the time for wild accusations is during oral arguments, not closing statements. You're out of order. I'm out of order? You're out of order. This whole trial is out of order. I know that's a reference to something. I know that is. Be that as it may, we are the Arcane Council, and you will abide by our ruling. Once we tabulate our findings, someone get me an Acabus. Really? You're going to use an Acabus to figure this one out? Okay. And then this I don't get what's about to come up, but 5.2708 seconds later? Is that something to do with the fact that you're using an Acabus and they can just determine exactly how long it was? Or, I don't know. But what have they figured out? It's the unanimous finding of the Arcane Council that Zin is guilty as charged on all counts. Zin, you are hereby sentenced to banishment from Ratasum and its subject lands for 10 years. There you go. Premature repatriation will be punishable by death. And I think that is exactly what the ancient Greeks did. I think this trial's pretty good at actually being perfectly paced for me reading it out loud, which is quite good. As is customary, the convicted may now make a threatening speech. Really? Okay, what's your threatening speech, Zin? Listen up, brains for brains. You think you've won a victory against me today, but you are sorely mistaken. Mark my words, this sentence is a greater punishment for you who will be deprived of my genius. That is for me, who will be freed from your ignorance. Wow. Okay, Zin. So you guys, if the smart ones are out of you right now, might be wondering where Zin's going to go. In conclusion, let me paraphrase my great Uncle Fenwick. Fools! I'll show you all. Wow. Really, your great Uncle Fenwick sounds amazing. So there you go, check it out, and then Zin's leaving. With MOX. Hey, MOX, you should be with me, buddy. What are you doing? MOX, you're with me now, not Zin. End of line, MOX. I think they stop up here now. Zin goes over to Blim. Why is he coming over to Blim? I think there is a little bit more dialogue. Or do I have to speak to them? I think I do have to speak to them. So Zin says here, it appears I should have heeded Blim's warnings about Ula, but with all the mumbling, it's hard to make out what he's saying. He may be smarter than he sounds after all. Okay, so this is really, I remember when I first saw this was a really interesting development for me. So yeah, Blim, who's been this paranoid maniac the whole time, just in the background, doesn't seem particularly smart, just a bit insane, just kind of been there in the whole Zin-Ula triangle thing. And now Zin, he's suddenly gone over to Blim because of what Blim's been saying about Ula all along. Yeah, interesting. It's not right. Ula wins again. She had my staff, you know. Red Azuraline staff. my staff, moved on to the cellar without the staff. It's not right. Yeah, so you'll see in the Dungeon series this story about the staff, but yeah, so okay, so these guys are kind of pairing up now, and Zin's been banished. This becomes a huge part of the story, okay? It really does. I'll tell you now, it's not really a massive spoiler. He's been banished from Asuran land. We are playing the war in Kryta. You guys work it out. So you've also got GOX, who has something interesting to say now. Ula so mean to my master. She not nice to Zin. I seen it. Ula is bad. Okay, brilliant. Yes, I could have done the Gur voice, but I wasn't going to. Yeah, so these guys have all got new things to say now, I think. They should have. A death maneuver, Zin loses cool and the case. Bravo, Den and Kren. Yeah, so, I mean, I would have liked to have spoken to them all, but really you'd have to speak to them while the trial is going on. I don't think there's anything particularly interesting that comes to mind that we miss out. You've got some knights here who say, is it strange being away from... It is strange being away from Cantha. Where are all the buildings? It's unnatural. Yeah, to be fair though, like, I much prefer open spaces. Do you know, this is the blue sky, Jade Brotherhood, look. It's blue, it's not all polluted and dirty and green like everywhere in Cantha is. There's Lex says, there are a few juicy parts, but I'm afraid we'll have to embellish a bit if I want a bestseller. Let's see, it was a dark and stormy night. It could have been at the start of this.
Busy.
With Zen exiled, this is one fewer competitor to worry about. Okay, so Vex, are you in Golomancy maybe? I've never heard about you. In the next 250 years, nobody cares about your research, so suck a lemon.
Busy.
Is it over? That was quick. We'll just speak to a selection of these guys.
Busy.
An amusing way to pass an afternoon, but I'd take a good explosion over this any day. At least an explosion is unpredictable. Here we've got some of the Krytans that were involved at the temple. I'm not sure how this banishment is such a good idea. Won't that troublemaker end up in Kryta now? Maybe. Brother Theopolius says, it's said in fiction, insofar as it serves a greater purpose, may be seen as lies that reveal the truth. I suspect that this is what we witness here today. Brother Mizar, I'm not exactly sure what has happened. I think it's time for us to leave, though. Well, that turned out to be a very profitable trip for me. Really, Colleen Redstone? Who else we got? We got Big Machine crew member. An amusing way to pass an afternoon, but I take a good explosion over this any day. At least an explosion is... Oh, we already... Fucking hell, I'm an idiot. Yeah. The Big Machine crew members, though, these are the guys you get the bounties from. Weapon crew member.
Most curious.
In retrospect, it may be best that we didn't try to use the Large Hydra Collider. This is a reference to the Large Hadron Collider, obviously. It takes a few days to warm up, and the Asura arguments rarely last that long without something or someone exploding anyway. Rank.
Oh, great.
Justice is
Another
served,
Booker.
he says. Let's speak to Prince Bokka. These little creatures have a flair for the dramatic, do they not? I think I must find one among them to design sets for the theatre in Macoon, and perhaps to write some soliloquies. If only that Zin were not so dangerous, I might offer him an invitation. See, I love this, the idea of Asura being around there in Alona. It's so cool. Actually, there was one thing outside Frostmoors. Some of them talk about, talk about riding on siege turtles, which is really interesting. Possibly puts out the idea that they were in Cantha, which Magical Mike was talking about the other day, which was really quite cool. Big Machine crew
Why
member.
are you bothering me?
I think that's the same thing.
Need
Is it
me?
over?
What now?
At first I was happy no violence broke out. Then I was a little bit disappointed. Then I considered the possibility that I might have been caught in the crossfire. I'm back to being happy now. Okay, more of these guys,
trouble. You
purifiers.
need me?
So yeah, there you go. I'm pretty sure that's all of the dialogue actually. We got the High Council actually. Let's very quickly. I don't want this to get too long. I thought this was going to be a short video. You know, with so many subjects gathered in one place, perhaps now's a good time to test that temporary cognitive obliterator I've been working on. Buoy up! Getting to the effects temporary has been much trickier than I anticipated. Honestly, I'm not sure banishment's much of a punishment. Sometimes I think a 10-year vacation from these bookers would be a welcome change of pace. Councillor Ula says, that was too easy. I'm going to remember repaying council members throughout half of Zin's 10-year sentence, I'm sure, but it was worth. So she didn't pay them off, bitch. What a bitch. Councillor Mamp says, never saw an Asuran trial before, huh? If you like that, you should read some of the classic Asuran legal dramas. To Kill a Moa Bird and Trial by Stone are two of my favourites. I really thought Zin was going to go through with you'll live to regret this rather than fools, I'll show you all. It's a matter of personal taste, I suppose, but I think the former is more traditional. Well, so this really is just a drama for these guys. This guy says, what a terrible miscarriage of justice. If I'd been running that trial, it would have been one of the best miscarriages of justice all time. Of all time. Oh, and Den and Kren say... Den and Kren, let us hear you say it. Den and Kren, or Peter... Yes, Peter Redhill! Peter Redhill feels good, doesn't it? Yes, it feels amazing. Den and Kren, that's right. This is so random, what the hell? Den and Kren, that's no good. Try it again. Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, there you go, guys. This is the trial of Zin. Really, really cool. This is one of the highlights of the War in Kryta for me. It's so It's brilliant. There's so much funny little bits of dialogue here. Does Chark have anything to say at the end? No. So yeah, but basically what do we take away from this? Zin has been exiled and he's teaming up, or going to try and team up with Blim, and they're going to be hanging around Kryta. What does this mean for the Civil War? What does this mean for the developments to come? Well, we'll just have to see later on. But you might remember what Livia's plan was in recruiting some help. So that it will all tie together. I love these things, man. I've said it so much, but I love these things. They're so cool. But yeah, okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and next time we'll be having a little bit of a look at the scavenger hunt. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Peter Redhill.